What's up, bass fam? It's MEB here, and in today's video, we're going to be unlocking one of the most powerful tools that every pro bass player uses, the pentatonic scale. Now, in this video, if you're wondering how to apply, how to play, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can use the pentatonic scale on your feel, on your groove, and for solo. So if that sounds like what you want to learn, grab your bass, grab your note, and let's get into the video. Alright, let's start with the most basic thing. Pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale that consists of every note in the major scale except for the 7th and the 4th note. Now, this is one of the most powerful tools that every pro bass player uses. It's funny. It works in almost all the genre of music that you know, and you can easily navigate it into any groove, any lick, any whatever thing you want to do. Just be able to be creative with this particular scale and you're good to go. I know most of us might or have come across this particular video. Yes, this particular video, he did a lot of pentatonic scale in his solo, and most bass players that you hear play, if you actually understand how to identify the notes in the pentatonic scale, you should be able to identify when they are doing a lot of pentatonic, maybe the major pentatonic or the minor pentatonic, of which you're going to be looking at the notes in the major pentatonic and the notes in the minor pentatonic, the formula for deriving the major and the minor pentatonic, so that it will be easy for you to actually apply. You get. Now, the notes in the major pentatonic scale is the root note, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th note. Okay. But most time when we play this scale, we always end it at the root note. The same way we play our major scale, starting from the root note and ending in the root note. So that's for the major pentatonic scale. Now, when you're playing the minor pentatonic scale, what you're playing is root note, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, and flat 7. Okay. So if you want to play like starting from the root note and ending on the root note, it's going to be like this. Exactly. So if you want to play the C natural minor pentatonic scale, you would not have any business literally to do with this flat 3rd, flat 7, and all those things, but you will discover that you're having the same shape. Okay, look at it. Do you see that? So it's going to be La, Do, Re, Mi, Sol instead of Do, Mo, Fa, Sol, Do. Okay, but it's the same shape. But if you're playing it on C, right? On A, okay, because A is the natural minor of C. Now let's make this much more practical and into the reason why we came for this video. Okay, now we're going to be using the pentatonic scale to create grooves, simple grooves at that. Now there's something very simple that you can always do when you're on sound check, and the fastest way to create these grooves that you can use for sound check or lead the band into sound check mode is the pentatonic scale. Okay, let's get into that moment when maybe the drummer is just like tin, 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 tin. And with the previous demonstrations, I just finished playing the pentatonic scale, the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic, using it to create a groove, right? Now, it's very simple. All you have to do is to understand the scale and understand how you can be able to sync it into groove. Now, one of the most sweetest thing about the pentatonic scale that I love so much is that just the shape of the scale is already sweet in the ear. You see that? Like the second groove I was playing was, I was playing exactly the minor scale shape, and it's already sounding into the groove, right? Now let's look at how you can actually change it into sweeter grooves, because you can actually have different progression, different chord structures on the sound check. Maybe the drummer, the keyboardist, every other person is actually playing something. You want to join them. should be able to create something sweet. So with this drum beat, I'm gonna go from just single notes, then I'll start adding some little elements to make it much more interesting. Okay. Just the groove with single notes. Now that's very simple, right? Just from building from the single notes I was playing already. Pam 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 pam. This groove idea is already coming from my pentatonic scale. What I'm having at the back of my mind when I'm doing this is that whatever I'm doing, I don't have to have any business to do with my fourth and my seventh. So that's the rule behind the pentatonic scale. So I just keep it simple like that and start building up from there. Playing every note I want to play within the 5 note scale, but I'm not going to touch my fourth and my seventh. It's very simple. Okay. So now this is a concept that helps you to create music. Okay. Now, one thing you notice about the pentatonic scale is that it has its own feel, it has its own signature of music. Okay, so when you're doing da 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 da, da when somebody hears it, knows that you're already doing a pentatonic feel. You get, because he's not hearing anything like these 2 notes. They are highly exempted in the pentatonic scale, so you can use this to do whatever you want to do and keep your groove groovy. Okay, because if you notice, I was building from a single groove, which I was doing single notes like this, and at some point I was playing. These were like the groove, okay, or the backbones of the groove. But at some point I was doing some other things to make it much more sweet. I was borrowing and playing other notes, like you see, different ways, different concepts you can actually come up with just playing this simple tool. There are a lot of tools in music, but what you have to do is to find a tool and give it a time to understand some things about it. There are so many ways you can actually apply the pentatonic scale, but let's leave it as basic as we can leave it for now, like this. Okay, so with time you can actually develop some skill for yourself, or some ideas for yourself, or some secrets that will be specifically known to you. You can actually put in the pentatonic scale, but this is a simple way to use the pentatonic scale to create grooves, especially funk grooves that you can play during sound check. It's very important. Okay, you can actually use the pentatonic scale as a passing note in between the groove, or as an idea to build passing notes in between the groove. Okay, like I was doing a simple groove already. You see that? That's like the passing note I was doing. Me, so back to the original groove I was playing. So you can actually do a lot of things with just the pentatonic scale. You don't have to think much about it. All you have to do is to sit down and practice it and come up with ideas within the pentatonic scale. Now let's talk about how to use pentatonic scale to create bass fills in your play. Instead of always playing those crazy long licks or worrying about how you can actually come up with licks, right? You can play simple bass fills from the idea of the pentatonic scale. Now this is very simple. You can actually create licks from the pentatonic scale too, but let's stick around with creating fills from the pentatonic scale. You have a simple song, you have a simple chord progression, you have a simple groove, and you just need little or no extra notes to make it more spicy, right? You can just go with your pentatonic scale and do little things on it to make it much more sweet. That's what we are going to be looking at now. All right, so I'm going to be applying simple bass fills over this simple chords progression, okay? And those bass fills are going to be basically your pentatonic scale, okay? Okay. Can you see that? Do you see that? That's to my 4. That's basically the simple pentatonic scale shape, okay? Now, I cannot express a lot of things from this thing because I don't want this video to be very long, but it is very simple. All you need to do is to understand the concept and the simple concept behind this scale. Now, as you can see, I was actually avoiding my 4th and my 7th in between the feel exactly, but I was actually using the pentatonic scale to create feels that leads to those 4th, right? Because the 4th is in the progression, so I cannot literally remove it from what I'm doing. Okay, it's very simple. Can you see that? So la do re mi so 5 6 1 2 3 5. It's very simple. All you need to do is to understand the concept behind it, right? And like I said before, it is very simple to create stuff from the pentatonic scale because the pentatonic scale on its own sounds nice already to apply in the music. So I did something like that's the pentatonic scale shape. Now I would like to state that if you can actually understand the idea of permutation, it will help you to be able to rearrange this particular scale into different phrases. That's exactly what we're doing, okay? Instead of starting your pentatonic scale, you already know that pentatonic scale is, which is what everybody know. Now your ability to rearrange, that's what makes it different, okay? You keep rearranging until you keep finding something new about that scale. You get? It's very simple. You don't need to stress it much, but just understand the idea behind that. That's exactly what we are doing when we say apply any scale. But now, when we're doing this permutation idea or permutation principle, we actually stick around the notes that are included in that scale. Okay, so we don't include our 4th and our 7th since you're doing just the pentatonic scale, and we try as much as possible to keep the authenticity of that particular scale. Okay, so in as much as I'm playing the pentatonic scale, you can actually feel the signature of the pentatonic scale in what I'm playing. Okay, this is very simple. Now, something I mentioned or something we learned in our previous video, if you notice what I was doing here, if I had played just this pentatonic scale as just maybe, it's going to sound boring, but I'm putting in all the slides, the vibrato, the subtle bends, and everything we learned in the other video, both the hammer-ons, right, and the pull-offs in cases where I need to. Can you see that? So it's giving it beauty. So if I need to, you see that? That's the hammer-on over there. Whichever way I have to do it to bring out beauty from this bass field, that's exactly what I'm doing. But I'm trying as much as possible to add in those things that the pros do. Don't always forget to add in those dynamics. Okay, that's what's going to give it the feel or the sweetness that you're looking for in the bass feel or the bass lick or the bass line. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now, finally, we are at the fun part of this video. Okay, how to use the pentatonic scale to create solos. Grab this particular video so you can understand some concept about the solo part of the pentatonic scale. Just have it at the back of your mind that you can actually use the pentatonic scale to create a lot of bass solos. All you need to do is to be creative and understand how you can actually go about this. If that sounds like what you don't want to miss out in, then don't dare to skip this part of the video. Now, quickly, I'm going to be using a beat to demonstrate how you can actually use pentatonic scale to create solos. Okay, now you have to just start from small. You can actually start playing from as low as 3-4 notes, but how you decide to place them in the groove is most more important. In all you're doing, never replace a groove for a solo. Okay, let's keep it simple. Groove first, then it's your turn to solo. Okay, let's keep it simple. Okay, this is actually it. Forget about what I did at the rest part of the video, right? But this is exactly how you can actually create solos from your pentatonic scale. Whether you're a beginner or you're an intermediate, it doesn't matter. What you have to do is to understand the concept. Now, at the beginning, I started with simple notes, right? Now forget about what I did at the last phrase. Now there is something I want you to note from what I was doing here. Re mi sol la re mi sol la re mi sol la re mi sol la do re mi sol la re mi sol la do re mi. I was actually playing the same thing, but now I was actually adding some sweet techniques in between those notes to make it much more colorful. The subtle bend, the hammer runs, the vibrato, and slides in cases where I need to play slides, which is very important that you understand those simple techniques that are actually going to make your play sound more colorful, right? But it's still the same thing I was playing. Still the same thing, but application is what's making it sound much more different in your ear. If you haven't watched the video where I explained how to add vibratos or how to play like a pro, check out these two videos. It's actually going to help you understand better how you can actually take your single and boring notes into interesting sounding notes. Okay, it is very, very important. Like we're doing this video, all I did was to add vibratos, hammer on, and all those other techniques we learned in our other videos in these simple things I was playing. Now, don't limit yourself to just what I did here. There are so many ways you can actually build on it. In the first demonstration I was doing in this video, I actually started playing from simple, and I started graduating it into a much more complicated solo. But I was trying as much as possible to keep it within the jurisdiction of the pentatonic scale. So I was not doing anything that has to do with the fourth and the seventh note of the major scale precisely. Now, when you're trying to create a solo, if you play a pentatonic scale without those hammer runs, vibratos, and slides, and all those things I mentioned in this video, it's not going to add emotion to your solo. That's why we're actually going to do them. So if I do maybe, see that, and see this. Do you see the difference? That's why you have to know how to add it into your play. Okay. Now with the pentatonic scale, or when you're creating a solo, you can actually add this to what you're doing. Try to create a call and response to whatever you're doing. Maybe okay, you get whichever way you want to do it, it's just simple. All you need to do is to have an idea or be creative with the scale on its own. Now, if you notice how I'm not rushing in what I'm playing, you should also know that when you're trying to create solos or when you're playing in a band, please, in as much as you want to solo or you want to tear shirts, do well to let the groove breathe. You get? It's very important. We've come to the end of this video. But if you haven't watched previous videos on how to sound like a pro, do well to check it out so you get to start sounding like the pros. And without saying much, let me know which of these techniques or which of these ways you prefer to add the pentatonic scale in your play. Is it as a feel or in the groove or as a solo? So let me know in the comment section. Until next time, guys. Peace.